making it so far with this. When we were in Hong Kong, Fergus and I were out late one night, and we had some Guinness. It was my first time I ever had Guinness. And I knew I had been on the road for just too long, and I missed my wife because it was around midnight, and Fergus started looking pretty good. That's why Fergus got the suit. When I answered the ad, I dumped all over this guy, because I dumped months of frustration on him. The biggest thing I was impressed with was his patience. But he said to me, it's one of two things. One, it's not for you, you can walk away. Or number two, it is for you, you can run with this. So I went to a meeting that was about this size. It was an opportunity presentation, opportunity meeting. Again, he talked about the company. He talked about the industry. And then the main guy came up and talked about the compensation plan. I was confused from the beginning. Then I got even more confused. Then when they talked about the compensation plan, I was severely confused. Then the 25-year-old kid, who'd been doing the business 2 years, said he was making $170,000 a month. That I understood. The thing that I understood then was if he could do it, I was going to figure it out. He had just turned 25. It changed my DNA. I'm getting chills. It changed my friggin' DNA. I didn't swear. My father's a United Church minister, by the way, so son of a preacher man. Teacher, right? Yeah. So I listened, and listened to this guy. The guy was a waiter. He had been waiting on tables 2 years before. He didn't finish his first year of college. He was like me. They didn't invite me back to school for my second year. I was having too much fun. I was majoring in fun and mastering in all-night fun. I just loved college from that standpoint. But I wasn't a serious student in school. But when he shared with me the lifestyle, when he shared with me how he lived, when he shared with me the results, I became a student. They say the teacher arrives when the student is ready. I was beyond ready. I was desperate. I listened. And it wasn't long. The presentation was 35 to 40 minutes. But I knew I was going to do this thing. I didn't know how, but I was going to figure it out. And I did. I did over time. You want to write this down. Success. Success is not overnight. It's over time. And success is simple disciplines repeated over time. Success is simple disciplines repeated over time. Failure is a simple error in judgment repeated over time. You relate that to just about anything in life. I'm going to share more of that with you in a minute. But I was moved that day by the results. I was going to figure this thing out. But I pulled him aside later on. I said, Jeff, 25-year-old kid, I'm in my 30s. The world is gone, but now there's a ray of hope. I said, what do I need to do? Tell me. You've got me. Whatever it takes, tell me what I need to do. He says, I need 3 things from you. 3 things. Those came out again. First thing, desire. I can't teach that. You need to want this. You better want it bad. If you want what I've got and what you heard. Because I met other people that were making $20, $40, $60, $80, $100, $150,000 a month. It was insane. And none of these people had a business background. I couldn't believe it. It's happening here, by the way, on steroids with NHT. And I'm going to share more of that with you in a second. But I couldn't believe this. But he said, I can't teach that. He said, you know, I can't put toothpaste back in the tube. Well, you can't. Try it. Can't do that. You can't push a rope unless you're in Canada in February. You can't push a rope. You can't put toothpaste back in the tube. It's all of this stuff. But he says, I can't teach desire. Not a problem. I was hungry, starving. He says, number 2. I need number 2, work. This is not a get rich. This is not a lottery. This is not a hobby. If you want a hobby, it'll pay you like a hobby. If you treat it casually, it'll pay you casually. You treat this serious, it'll pay you serious. If you treat this like a major league serious business, over a few years, you can get rich. And he was right. He said, you know, in the very beginning, you'll be working this hard. But you'll be only earning that much. But he said, in a few years, you'll be working this hard. You'll be earning this much. This is what I started to see, was the long term and the bigger picture. But it wasn't forever. It was the few little things that I needed to do every single day in the business and be committed to it. I'm going to talk to you about those disciplines. So it was a burning desire. I had to work, and the third one was the biggest one. The third one was the biggest one. Because I had to go through this mental enema of traditional business that I was used to. Being in the corporate world. It's all I knew. He said, number 3 is teachable. You better be a student. You better be an information sponge. Knowledge motivates. I was ready to get it. But, you know, he said, go through a mental enema. Go through a mental enema. You know, I had been in the hospital for 2 months with ulcerative colitis and Crohn's disease. Anybody familiar with that or know what it is? It's pretty serious. It's a pain in the butt. Yes, that's what I said when I was in there. It was awful. So, you know, I was in the hospital for 2 months with colitis and Crohn's disease. It's a pain in the butt. It's, by the way, because of these NHC products, the product is all, or the problem is all behind me. So it's. Yeah. Anyways, I had a very close relationship with enemas at that time. You know, my dad said, you know, who needs friends when you got enemas? I'm in the hospital. I told my dad I was in bed with colitis, and he said, so she's Greek? You know? You need a sense of humor when, and I had to develop one. I was in a very serious situation. My grandmother, unfortunately, God bless her, passed of complications of Crohn's. So my world was changing, and I had to change. For things to change, I had to change. For things to change, I had to change. The one constant you're going to have in life is change. Charles Darwin, one of his best ones ever, the true genius in life is the ability to adapt and adjust to change. I had to change, and I did. But I had to learn from who? Someone who was living the way I wanted to live. If you want to be healthy and beautiful, listen to someone who's healthy and beautiful. Very healthy, listen to someone who's very healthy. If you want to be spiritually connected, listen to somebody spiritually connected. If you want to have great relationships in your life, talk to, listen, surround yourself with people that have got great relationships. If you want to be in great shape, listen to who? Geraldine. If you want to become a global ambassador. So it's who you want to become, you take advice from. And that was something I had to, and I didn't know, understand and learn, is that I would always be like the people I take advice from, and only as good as the people I surrounded myself with. Up until that time, the world that I was in, I realized I was where I was because who I surrounded myself with and been taking advice from for years and years and years. You'll always be like the people you take advice from. Think about it. You're only as good as the people you surround yourself with. It's very interesting. It's part of the philosophy that I was adopting. But I wanted to live like this, so I started listening to this guy, and things started to change. So I was a student, desire, work ethic, and I became very, very, very coachable. He said 3 other things. Write it down. In approaching this business, you want to keep this business very, very simple. Don't complicate, because if you do, you won't be able to duplicate. Who likes to get paid while they're sleeping? Okay. This side of the room wants to. This side, who likes to get paid while they're sleeping? You'll have wonderful dreams. Number 2, we're not going to take too much longer in this camp. Number 2 is basics and fundamentals. Just write down the word basics. The basics. He said, Dan, focus on the basics. Focus on just 3 things all day long. over and over and over again. The mother of skill is repetition. How do you get in great shape? By simple disciplines repeated over time. Going to the gym every day. But it's easy to do and it's easy not to do. Right? You can go to the gym one day, you get in great shape. No, you got to keep doing that. You can not go to the gym in one day and say, nothing's happened. I haven't gotten worse, I haven't gotten better. And that is a simple error in judgment repeated over time. It's the same thing in planting the seeds in the garden and the harvest, relationships, bless you, taking the product, again. All of these things, simple basics, and the basics are three things. The three things that you focus on, your team, if it's 3 people, 2 people, or when you first get started as 1, you focus on 3 things. Number 1, share the product. Share the product. You know what? You don't have to sell the product. Share the product. Results, not ingredients. Demonstration, not information. Keep it simple. The products will scream for you. They work. Did you hear we've got Nobel Prize winning research behind these products? Pretty powerful. What's more powerful are the stories. Because facts tell, stories sell. Share the stories. Share the product. It'll do it for you. Share the product all day long. If you know that the vast majority of the people that try these products end up buying them, why? Because they get incredible results and they keep taking them for the rest of their lives. How would you like to have 10 people doing this every day? Who likes to have 10 people sharing products? What if you had 100? What if you had 1,000?
Very rich.
Correct. Getting it. Basics. Credible products. Can't do it. Our works. So, share the product. What's the other one? Share the business. Share the opportunity. And what do you want to do? If you want to build a big business, what should you do? Share the opportunity once a year. Talk about the business to one person every 6 months. What do you think would be a good thing to do if you want to build a big business? Yeah, as much as you can, relative to your goals and what you want. But share the product, share the opportunity, over and over and over again. Okay? I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about that in game plan. So you share the product, you share the opportunity. Third one is you're promoting events. You're promoting the next big event.